There, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Kash Patel, a guy I am proud to call a friend. My buddy is up for, of course, to be the next director of the F.B.I. There is no better man for this job, and we can run down the reasons why. He's an intelligence expert. He was a former federal prosecutor. Heck, he was a public defender. If anybody knows what people go through as they go through a justice system, it was this guy, to have empathy and compassion. But he also knows where the bodies are buried. All of his work on the Russian collusion hoax with Devin Nunes, trying to get to the bottom of what really happened, who was responsible. Giving this man the keys to the castle to turn the FBI around is what needs to happen. In fact, I would say Kash Patel is the only man for the job. Now, here's the problem. The mainstream media is attacking Kash Patel on every level. They despise this man. Why? Because he has a moral fortitude. He's got a moral compass. He's willing to stand firm. He's not afraid of the deep state, no matter what they throw at him. And he's not out there for power. He's out there for the people. And so, yes, does he talk brash? Yes, is he to the point? Yes, is he direct? Of course he's all those things. That's what President Trump is. Kash Patel's an alpha male, which is what we need, by the way. Enough of the Biden beta males, for sure. So what I wanted to do today was take a series of my interviews over the years with Kash Patel and let you hear from him firsthand. If you have liberals that despise Kash Patel because the media told them to, because left-wing politicians told them to, I want you to give them this podcast to listen to. Members of the media, I want you to listen to this. I don't care if members of the media fast forward through my comments just to Kash Patel sound bites, but how about you listen to the man? My assumption is not one member of the media has actually taken the time to listen to Kash Patel interviews other than the sound bites they pick and choose, sometimes taking out of context and using it to somehow paint a, quote, cartoonish picture of Kash Patel. But this is exactly what they do. These are the kind of things they paint us as. And so enough is enough. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to let you hear for yourselves from Kash Patel's mouth as a series of interviews that I've done over the years with him. We'll play some of it to see that this man is reasonable. He's direct. He's to the point. He's a constitutionalist. He is for the rule of law. He is not vindictive, but he certainly wants to go after criminals. Not to speak for him, but I've interviewed him enough to know that that is 100% the truth. Before we get into that, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. I feel like I'm in some of the best shape of my life. I've gained muscle mass. I've lost visceral body fat. That is good things to lose, great things to gain as far as muscle mass. I am hydrated at a cellular level now, which has my skin clearing up, my brain thinking more clearly. Everything is going in a positive direction thanks to Energized Health and their very simple program. I changed the way I eat a little bit, but I'm still eating many of the things that I ate before. Changed the way I work out, but I'm not killing myself. No crazy workouts, no crazy diets. That I guarantee you. It's about getting hydrated at a cellular level and turning your life around with some little tips and tactics that's going to literally change your life. So if you want to lose 200 pounds, and some people on this have done that, or if you want to just lose a few pounds like me, I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. Go there, learn about intercellular hydration. And by the way, the 15 pounds I lost in 3 weeks, I'm now 3-4 months since there, and I've kept it off. So this was not some kind of fad deal. This is backed by science, patent pended science. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. Pay them a visit. All right, so my buddy Kash Patel is now enemy number one in the mainstream media because he wants to upend the FBI. He wants to rebuild it. He wants to, I don't know if he wants to rebrand it or not, but he certainly wants to reform it at the very least. The very least. All right, so what I want to do is let you listen to Kash Patel on a series of topics. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to do this on a series of topics and let you hear from him yourself, okay? And then you decide. This, folks, is Kash Patel on the FBI.
culture of Comey and McCabe. Abate is Deputy Director's former Andy McCabe's basically FBI kid. And he is going to cover up for the Bureau. And they have already shown their hatred towards Donald Trump and his movement by the unlawful searches of 275,000 Americans using the FISA process. A bunch of it was targeted at Trump supporters. So they have no credibility. They lie all the time in Congress because Congress lets them get away with it. And at fault there partly is the Republican majority for not bringing them up on contempt of Congress charges for everything from their statements about domestic terrorism to being on the rise to Christopher Wray, the top cop in the country who doesn't know what a bullet is when it's fired at a president's head, is just disgustingly political and another corruption cover-up scandal.
All right, we could probably do a whole show, maybe a whole month's worth of shows on this topic, but what do you do about the FBI? What does President Trump, or what should he do about the FBI when he gets into office? Because I gotta believe these agents, many of them are dug in deep.
Look, one of my biggest personal recommendations is you shut down the FBI headquarters building and open it up the next day as the Museum of the Deep State. And you send those 7,000 agents in the headquarters building downrange to chase down rapists, to chase down murderers, to chase down drug traffickers, and let the cops be cops on the streets across America. You keep a small contingent in Washington, D.C. That's step one. You get rid of half of the legion of lawyers and special counsels that exist within the FBI to do one thing: to corrupt and obstruct government oversight from constitutionally applicable committees in Congress. And another aspect of it, real quick, is one of the biggest institutions in the FBI that has been troubled and politicized and weaponized has been their intel component. We have an intel agency. I don't need it to be redone within the walls of the FBI. We've shown when we've given them that power what they do to it. They unlawfully surveil a president and his candidate. So those are three quick things that we could rattle off. That would be my recommendation to reform the FBI. There's many more.
Amazing. And very, very simple and all common sense. Why is the media going crazy about this? Well, the media is going crazy about this because many of their friends are some of those 7,000 bureaucrats inside FBI headquarters. Did he say it right? 7,000 people inside FBI headquarters? Could you imagine if you took them and stopped them from chasing down the grandmothers of January 6th and actually sent them out to chase down child pornographers, actually sent them out to chase down jihadists that have snuck in through our southern border and go out there and make sure they don't commit crimes against Americans, blow themselves up on city streets across America? Could you imagine if you took those FBI agents and went out after the fraudsters and scam artists and financial crimesters that are preying on our elderly population in America? This is what the FBI should be doing. But the FBI got away from its mission a long time ago. Now, how easy or hard would it be for Kash Patel to shut down FBI headquarters and open it up as a museum of the deep state? Probably very difficult, but it can slowly be done as you start to transfer people out of that offices to satellite offices around the country where they can actually be, as he said, boots on the ground, fighting crime in conjunction with our local partners. This makes total sense. You want to make America safer? I'm going to tell you how you do it. You do it through cooperation. It's very simple. You have to have cooperation between law enforcement and the community. This goes for building trust back with the FBI and the American public. Trust is gone. It's at an all-time low. Something like 40% of Americans say they trust the FBI. I don't know how the number's that high. It used to be around 60%. You build trust back between the FBI and the American public. You build trust back between the FBI and local law enforcement partners. And you start to cooperate between state, local, federal partners and the community. You start cooperating, have all of those entities working together. Our crime problem gets solved in America. But you don't work together when you wall yourself off in Washington, D.C., as Kash Patel mentioned. You wall yourself off in Washington, D.C. with evildoers at the helm like Christopher Wray, who is an evildoer, and I believe he's not only is an evildoer, he's a corrupt crook, who is a political hack who weaponized his own agency that he was running against political foes like President Trump and Kash Patel and others. So, of course, Kash Patel, in my opinion, is the guy for the job. So let's keep playing him. This is what he goes on to say.
You get rid of half of the legion of lawyers and special counsels that exist within the FBI to do one thing, to corrupt and obstruct government oversight from constitutionally applicable committees in Congress. And another aspect of it real quick is one of the biggest institutions in the FBI that has been troubled and politicized and weaponized has been their intel component. We have an intel agency. I don't need it to be redone within the walls of the FBI. We've shown when we've given them that power what they do to it.
So I wanted you to hear that again, and I wanted you to hear it again because the legions of lawyers and special counsels, folks, lawyers in Washington, enough is enough. Now, Kash Patel is a lawyer, and I'm happy for that, but he's one of the few that understands how the real world works. He's one of the few that has critical thinking skills in Washington. We have lawmakers that are lawyers that, oh my gosh, it'll make your head spin. They do not understand what it's like to be a business guy. Now, Kash Patel sees the field. And I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but it's one of the most important terms when you look for a leader in this country, someone who can see the field, who can assess the situation. I'll use a sports analogy. The best running backs, the best quarterbacks see the field. They see where the pressure's coming from. They make adjustments on the fly. If you have tunnel vision where you're told to run a route or you're told to run through this X hole on the field and you're tunnel vision only, you're not going to succeed. But when you can see the field, when you know the players, when you can assess what the players' motivations are, okay, it makes your life much easier, and it certainly opens your eyes to what's really at play. And what's really at play in Washington, D.C. is not good, folks. Not good at all. So again, do you think the mainstream media has listened to any of this? I don't think so. You tell me right there in what he said, they'll freak out that he wants to close FBI headquarters, but why? Why aren't you okay with sending FBI agents across the country where they should be instead of Washington, D.C.? Here's Kash Patel, different program on Stinchfield, talking about Christopher Wray, the current director of the FBI.
Well, look, it's pretty simple. When your government fails the accountability test for itself and the other coordinate branches of government won't come in and defend the Constitution, then I will. Rod Rosenstein and Chris Wray.
Hold on. That may be all I need to play of him. That's it. When you have bureaucrats who won't defend the Constitution, bring in people that will. Kash Patel is one of them. That's it. I can end the podcast right now. I'll defend the Constitution. What do we have in Washington right now? People who upend the Constitution. People who disregard the Constitution. It's not what we need. We need fighters. And even more than that, this is very sad what I'm about to say. We need believers in the Constitution. Folks, the Constitution is my guide to every decision I make on this program. That and the Bible. And the Constitution is based off the Bible, so the two go hand in hand. This is how I build my moral value system. It's how I build my legal value system. It's how I build my critical thinking when I'm assessing where we should go on a program with certain policies. I think of the Constitution, the Bible. That's it. I believe in the Constitution. Just as I believe in the Bible. You have bureaucrats in Washington that have no idea what the F the Constitution is, man. You really do.
When they were running the corruption cover-up scandal that is Russiagate back in 2017 and 18, when Devin Nunes and I led that investigation on Capitol Hill, they threatened us in January of 2018 with not just investigatory powers, but placing us under subpoena and getting our private information because we were exposing their corruption. Well, fast forward the tape 4.5, 5 years later, Google, of all people, writes me an email and says, our 5-year window has lapsed. We are now able to tell you that the DOJ under Rosenstein and Wray subpoenaed your personal banking records, emails, financial records, phone calls, text messages, and everything else. Why? Because we were digging up dirt on them, and they wanted to get us kicked out of government. So I have said, that's not going to stand on my watch. We sued Chris Wray, Rod Rosenstein, Jesse Liu, Rob Hur, the current special counsel, and other DOJ officials. I'm going to see these guys in court. These government gangsters are getting deposed. If Congress won't get the documents for the American people, I will.
You know, Kash wrote a book called Government Gangsters. How do we get to a point as a nation where we got to write books on government gangsters? They're not supposed to be government gangsters. putting the squeeze on the American people. We're supposed to be putting the squeeze on them. When you work for government, I don't care what level you're at, you work for the people, and I'm sorry, there's an eyeball on you. I got my eyes on them. You better believe I do. I got eyes in the front of my head, the back of my head, the side of my head, and they all see 2020, my man. They all see 2020. This is what I tell my son. So I'm watching. Why are they watching us? We didn't break any laws. See, it's the other way around. They got it all backwards. We're allowed to be surveilling them. They're in government. We're allowed to read their emails if we want. It's public information. It's part of the public record. They're not allowed to just go get warrantless surveillance warrants on us. I mean, it's unbelievable where this government has gone. That Kash now has to write a book called Government Gangsters. But he's right. This is what they are. They subpoenaed his text messages because he's working in Congress, looking into the agency. The role of Congress is to provide oversight of these agencies. How dare they? Again, what's out of line here? Kash Patel used the courts to go after them, to go sue them. He did it by the book. This is what he's going to do when he becomes an FBI guy. The director, the biggest FBI guy. You want to hear more? I got so much more. I just wish the mainstream media was watching right now. All of you watching, thank you. Share this. Copy the link. Send it to your liberal friends. Let them see Kash in his own words. This is Kash on China. So it's not just about the FBI. It's not just, but China, as President Trump loves to say. Common sense. This is who's providing who what.
Absolute reality. Look, the CCP is flush with money, and when they don't have enough, they just print more and devalue their currency because they don't abide by any international monetary standard, let alone the law. Neither does Iran, neither does Russia, and now they're teaming up with former allies of ours in the Middle East to open up economic and global oil trade to include the Saudis and Venezuelans and other countries. So now they have access to a banking system, and if they can't get it from the CCP, they'll find someone else to get it. But you're absolutely right. Look, the one thing these countries have in common that are unifying them is they want to take out America, and they see Joe Biden at the helm, and they see every opportunity every day to do so. You just led with the fact that a United States cargo vessel was attacked by a missile in the Red Sea. Yeah. And no one's talking about it? What if that happened during the Trump administration? It would be the only piece of news that matters. And I hope that the Iowans, and I believe they will, focus on Donald Trump's successes and the desire to have world peace again and not just have a strategy of hope.
Again, they despise Kash Patel because he calls out Joe Biden as a weakling. That's it. They know that what he's saying right there is so true and so spot on, and it makes Joe Biden look so bad, and it tunes the American people in to just how horribly he ran this country. And this goes back a ways. This was during the Iowa caucuses, okay? But we've got to open our eyes. Instead of having Joe Biden and Barack Obama and the other Democrats running around the world apologizing for American greatness, why don't we own American greatness? Why don't we be great again? That's what President Trump's all about. Hey, by the way, this is one of Kash's sweatshirts. He gave it to me. See this? I love it. It's Trump. It's like the Special Forces Trump version. All right, anyway, let me tell you, folks, I'm going to play some more of these clips for you. Because, again, nobody in the mainstream media is doing this. They're pick and choosing the clips they want you to hear instead of letting you hear a broad breadth of Kash Patel, where he stands on the issues, letting you decide on all of it. Before we get to more Kash Patel, folks, get21now.com, get21now.com, 21% annualized interest on your investment, paid monthly, direct deposited into your bank account. I've owned businesses. Getting 21%, that's freaking great. With this, you don't have to have any employees. You don't have to have any overhead, no rent to pay, no electricity bills, nothing. You make a deal with the guys over at NFN8, that's the name of the company, Get21now.com. You make a deal with them up to 21%. That's the level that I came in at. That's the level you too can come in at. 21% annualized on your investment. So how do they do it? It's Bitcoin mining. They have industrialized the process, huge warehouses full of Bitcoin mining equipment. They buy the electricity very, very cheaply, mine the Bitcoin, sell it on the open market the next day. So you're not dealing with the wild fluctuations. In fact, you lock into that 21%. Annualized interest, paid monthly, direct deposited, cash flow, mailbox money. It's awesome. So you want to take part in Bitcoin, but you don't want the wild swings? Get21now.com is your place. Really, I mean, these guys are great guys, too. I really like them. You'll enjoy the conversation. When you go sign up to have them talk to you on the website, get21now.com, make sure you call them back. If they call you and you don't answer, call them back. They're very, very busy. A lot of people want in on this, but you'll enjoy your conversation with them as well. Get21now.com. All right. More of Kash Patel of my series. When I was doing this, I was going through, I said, man, oh man, I can't believe that I have interviewed Kash as many times as I had. There were so many interviews to go through, and I just tried to pick some of the best stuff that I had. But here he is. This was talking about Devin Archer, right? This is one of the, what you want to call him, a co-conspirator with Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family. Remember that? He's gone in for his closed-door meetings in front of Congress. And I play this for you just to get a feel for who Kash is. Again, the mainstream media doesn't want you to have a feel for who he is. They want you to think he's a cartoonish buffoon flamethrower. Oh, he'll throw some flames, but he ain't cartoonish, and he ain't no buffoon.
None whatsoever, except me and you appearing on your show to talk about the truth.
So let's take this from the newest information first. Devin Archer, I said, not really bombshell, but confirmation. Everything I'm hearing coming out of this hearing confirmed. All of the things we've been talking about, John Solomon's been talking about, what we've been learning about the Biden scheme, it seems like he confirmed.
Yeah, look, Real America's Voice has been all over this, your program, John, and so many others. And you're right. The fake news has covered none of it. They will not cover. And I looked just before I got on your show, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, not one single word about Devin Archer's testimony today. That tells you everything you need to know. That tells you how powerful Devin Archer's testimony was. Because if they could have found a way to tweak it, just ask Dan Goldman how that went for him, they would have done that. But they know this evidence is so damning, the only thing they can do is ignore it. And like you said, these documents, and James Comer and company has put this information out for months and months and months, but it was always a right-wing conspiracy theory. Then they bring the guy in who's Hunter Biden's best friend, consulting with him from day one, knows Daddy Biden from day one, and he's on the phone calls. I mean, you want to talk about playing the videotape to the bank robbery with the guy without a ski mask? It just happened.
Oh, he's calling out the mainstream media now for what I call lies by omission. When you don't cover a story that is very damning to your people, the Democrat Party and the Bidens, it's lying by omission. Calls him out on that. The media doesn't like Kash Patel because Kash Patel has been out on the forefront, out in front of this, calling people out, calling the media out, calling individual reporters out left and right. It needs to be done. Now, again, reporters are so worried that Kash Patel is going to go after them. I'm going to lock up reporters. I can tell you, I don't remember any time Kash Patel has ever told me we're going to lock up reporters. What he has told me is if you've broken the law, you will be prosecuted. If you've broken the law, you will be prosecuted. Think about the difference of that to where the Biden weaponized justice system is. The Biden weaponized justice system isn't if you've broken the law, we'll prosecute you. If you cross us, we will prosecute you. If you disagree with us, we will prosecute you. If you support someone that we don't support, we will prosecute you. Folks, that's a dictatorship. That's communist China. That's Venezuela. That's North Korea. That's, in many respects, even Russia. It's not what America's about. Kash says, in the end, we'll go follow the facts. We'll go follow the evidence. And what an investigator does, at least a good one, is you follow the evidence to where it leads you. When the evidence leads you to a criminal and the evidence is there to prove they're a criminal, you arrest them. You don't make up the evidence. That's what they've been doing to President Trump and so many others. They literally made up the evidence. They lied in front of judges to get warrants. Made up phony dossiers. We know the Russian collusion hoax was based off that phony dossier written up by Hillary Clinton. That's not following the evidence. That's making up the evidence. That's illegal. The people that are responsible for that, those are the people that need to pay the price. No doubt about it. All right, continuing. I love doing what the mainstream media doesn't do. I really do. Let's see.
It starts and ends with personnel. President Trump has the policies. He did them and implemented them his first term. He also has some of the personnel from his first term, but the good news is he's got even more now. And so, in my opinion, what needs to happen is a transition program that allows a sweeping on-block implementation of senior level appointees across every agency and department at one time.
So the reason that needs to happen, senior level appointees in every agency all at one time, is because you've got to hit them hard and swift. As I've said many times since the election of President Trump this second time around, every agency in the federal government is a crime scene today. So we've got to stop the destruction of evidence inside these agencies. I fear that much of the evidence will already be destroyed by the time we get in there, but that doesn't mean that the game is over, doesn't mean that they've escaped. It's just going to make it a little bit harder to track down the criminals inside these agencies, but we will track them down. And in Washington, people will sell themselves to the devil, and if they feel like they've got the heat on them, they will sing like canaries in Washington, D.C. These are not brave people. See, Kash Patel is brave. President Trump is brave. Peter Navarro, and hey, congratulations to Peter Navarro. He was just announced today as another one of President Trump's top advisors on trade and tariffs in the White House. So Peter Navarro going back to the White House, who was a stalwart for President Trump. These guys are brave. The bureaucrats, the deep staters, this career ruling class of politicians and bureaucrats in Washington, they're not brave. They ain't bold. They're cowards, which in many respects will make it easier to go after them because they'll flip. They'll go total full-on snitch. You watch, and that's what we need. We're going to need snitches. You might call them whistleblowers. That might be a kind way to say it. Now, I'll say this. I'll use the term whistleblower for a guy that doesn't have the protection. Think about these IRS agents that have been talking about Hunter Biden's crimes. Those people are brave. They don't have protection. So they're brave. Those are whistleblowers. The snitches are the criminals that are now singing. They don't have protection anymore, so they want to cut a good deal for themselves. Cowards. Cowards who did harm to America. It's treasonous, really, in many respects. It really is. Here is Kash talking about, is this a revenge list? And this is an interesting question because the mainstream media has constantly said that President Trump's out for revenge, and he's going to put Kash Patel as the director of the FBI, and he's going to invoke revenge. Now, I want revenge. I want retribution. But when I calm down and take a breath, in the end, what I really want is just justice. Maybe all three of those things go hand in hand, but justice is what we need, and justice will be served, and you do that by using the courts in a legal, constitutional manner.
It's not a revenge list, Grant. We have the United States Constitution, and we want to apply it singularly to the folks in D.C. and to everyday Americans. That's what people voted for when they voted for President Trump. They voted for accountability and constitutional oversight of these agencies and departments whose leadership have led them astray.
All right. What he said there is so important because the mainstream media said Kash Patel is going to be throwing people into jail, specifically reporters. That's not what Kash Patel says. Listen to him again. I'm going to play it again. It's about the Constitution. If you break it, if you break the law, then you will face a consequence.
It's not a revenge list, Grant. We have the United States Constitution, and we want to apply it singularly to the folks in D.C. and to everyday Americans. That's what people voted for when they voted for President Trump. They voted for accountability and constitutional oversight of these agencies and departments whose leadership have led them astray.
I could play that over and over again. The mainstream media won't hear it. They won't listen to it. That may be the most important soundbite of this podcast today, of all of the soundbites that I've played for President Trump, because it declares what he wants to do in a very simple, straightforward fashion. Apply the Constitution to those in government and everyday people, and those who break the law need to pay the price and be held accountable. That simple. Why are you afraid of that person in government? Why are you afraid of someone who wants to hold someone who defied their constitutional oath? Why are you afraid of that person? You're afraid because it may be you who did it. Not all of you, obviously, but I'm talking about the bureaucrats who may watch the show, and they do. You know, I could see IP addresses. We got a lot of people watching in the Capitol building, a lot. And, you know, it's interesting to know as we play these sound bites, who's afraid and who's not, right? I'm curious how many offices in the Capitol right now have this podcast on live on one of the many outlets that it airs on and have closed and locked their door. And they want to listen to Kash because they want to know if he's coming after them or not. I bet you there's a lot of those people in Washington, D.C. today, and they should be scared. But you don't need to be scared if you've lived up to your oath. You don't need to be scared if you've been working for the people. And there are some in government that have done that. And I believe a majority of FBI agents are good, decent people who want to keep Americans safe. But I believe there's a faction in there that are left-wing radicals that are there to do the bidding of the Democrat Party, Barack Obama, George Soros, and will rain down hell upon any one of us that push back against him. If you don't think Kash's job is going to be one of the most difficult in Washington, think again. Just like the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General is on an even higher level than the Director of the FBI, obviously. I think the Director of the FBI may be even harder. Because, put it like this. You've got a general who goes into battle, but, you know, the general's fairly protected. Then you've got your captains who are with the soldiers, literally fighting in the jungles, the battlefields, the deserts, wherever where the fighting may be going on. Those are the real dangerous jobs. Kash Patel is going to be that captain lieutenant that's literally leading an agency, a platoon of men going into battle. He's on the front lines. The Attorney General is going to be somewhat protected, even though their job's going to be difficult too. This swamp, man, they are going to fight back like you have never, ever seen before. I promise you they will. Let's go to some of the comments in the Rumble chat. Professor Yaffle, raise it to the ground, then start anew. Talk about FBI headquarters, I'm sure. We need cash, says Tricia. The Biden crime family, Jay Walsh. Yes, you know that's what this is all about. That is the other thing. They're so afraid of Kash because they need to protect the Biden crime family and all of those who helped them flourish. And I believe there are many in government who did. So this is about a crime syndicate inside government that had the Biden crime family profiting with power and money and prestige. So this is about protecting all of that. And in many respects, they know the jig is up. Craig Muttley, we need good government. We need cash now. DJ Trumpworth, 877 cash now. That's a good one. Send the Biden crime family entire cabinet to Gitmo. Maybe. We'll convict him in a court of law with a very fair jury. I don't even care if they move the jury anywhere. Have the jury in Washington, D.C., by the way. It's on their side, but I think the evidence is going to be so overwhelmingly clear, they'd convict them. All right, let's go. More of Kash Patel. This is him talking about holding people accountable.
Whether it's FDA and or ag or labor or education or DOJ or DOD, again, I think the same principles of the Constitution just need to apply. If you failed us in your position of service, which is a privilege, Grant, not a right, then you need to be held accountable. And that's all we're asking for is an examination. That's not what President Trump needs to do singularly. That's what the American public have asked him to do.
So I believe Kash Patel, as the next director of the FBI, will be there to literally carry out President Trump's mission. The mission not that President Trump ultimately came up with, but the mission that the American people mandated President Trump to carry out. Now, President Trump, I'm not even going to say he had the ideas to drain the swamp. Sure, he coined the phrase drain the swamp. But President Trump saw what the American people wanted. He saw what everyday Americans wanted, that we were tired of being oppressed by career bureaucrats, getting rich on us, using their power to squash us, using their power for special privilege in Washington, D.C. We were all sick of that. President Trump saw that. That's why his candidacy flourished. That's why he came to the scene. And then, of course, he can push a message like nobody else can. He's the master at pushing a message because, one, he does it through humor. He does it through entertainment. He invokes emotion in you. Good, bad, sad, happy, angry, you name it. He evokes emotion. That's how you spread a message. And then you surround yourself with, quite frankly, alphas. I'm not going to say alpha males. There's plenty of alpha females he's surrounded with as well. You surround yourself with alphas, and then you run into Washington, D.C. with a vengeance, and you take this country back. I'm going to play for you some clips from the mainstream media that just despise Kash, and we'll talk about why. But I hope you're getting a good feel for who Kash Patel is as we play these clips, all right? But before I play you any of that, I want to tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals. Right now, they're running a great special. Depending on how much money you put into gold, you could get up to $7,500 in free silver. This is a fabulous deal. You want to learn about how this all works? Go to freegoldguide.com/grant, freegoldguide.com/grant, or you can hit the QR code right up there in the corner of your screen. These guys are great. I've gotten a chance to interview the Colonial Metals guys. I've gotten a chance to talk to them on numerous occasions. I know them. I trust them. If you're thinking about protecting your portfolio, which I really believe you should right now, with precious metals, a commodity that has stood the test of time when it comes to this portfolio protection maneuver, I want you to talk to our friends at Colonial Metals. So many of our Rumble viewers are using Colonial Metals with great success. Just look at the gold chart. That's all I want you to do. Look at the gold chart like this. There's a reason it's like that, because it's a commodity, okay? It's not like the dollar that you could just print more, that doesn't really have anything backing it, that has no value. This is a physical commodity. I say gold you can hold. Colonial Metals Group can help you. Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com, freegoldguide.com. Go to Colonial Metals, and they will help you out. Again, the number 800-458-7356. All right, so as Kash Patel is simply just a truth teller, well, you know that gets people super, super angry, especially in the media. So they're going to try to twist your mind on all of this. This is Jonathan Karl.
He even wrote a children's book about Trump's legal troubles called Plot Against the King. But it's the book that Patel wrote for adults, Government Gangsters, that gives an idea of what he would attempt to do as the FBI director. He writes that federal law enforcement agencies must be brought to heel by firing the top ranks and prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law anyone who in any way abused their authority for political ends.
Why does he say that with such disdain and anger? Doesn't that make sense? If you abused your authority inside a law enforcement agency and went and persecuted American citizens, why wouldn't you want to, quote, bring them to heel? He's so out of touch. That guy's with ABC News, completely out of touch with America, completely out of touch with what you and I and all of us believe in, what Stinchfield's army believes in. And he thinks it's crazy that you're going to go to the fullest extent of the law. That was a quote, as if that's some kind of crazy comment. No, that's using the law, not using your power to invoke pain on someone. That's what the FBI did to all these J6ers. They used their power to invoke pain on people, followed them, questioned them, then ultimately threw some of them in jail, wouldn't give them a trial. We got one guy still sitting in jail, Jake Lang. He hasn't even had a trial yet. 4 years later. That, to me, is unconstitutional. You don't inflict pain on the American people. You should be there to help them. Well, my friends over at Newsmax, my old employer, talked about why Kash Patel is the right guy. This is Mark Lauder.
Well, the key for them is you've got to be one of them. That's right. What Kash Patel is not. That's right. Why he scares the living bejesus out of them. That's right. And he should. If you are a career FBI prosecutor who does your job, abides by your oath, does it impartially, without politics and without favor, I bet you'll be Kash Patel's best friend. Yeah. If you do otherwise, you will not be well received. And I think that is where what fears the deep state so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. Everything we're saying here, I want you to understand. Kash Patel isn't going to just run in there and blow the place up without thinking about the spots he needs to detonate that bomb in. And I say this, rhetorically, not real bombs, obviously. But you got to play that out for the media that are so devious. Take every one of my words and twist it around. So you're going to go in and you're going to upend the place. You pick your spots. Kash Patel's smart about that. He's going to pick his spots and he's going to make the FBI better. And in the end, you know what? America's going to be better and we're all going to be safer for it. And this is a very, very good thing. There shouldn't be any controversy about Kash Patel. None. I have my complete and utmost faith in that man, maybe more than anybody else. So God bless you, Kash. Say a prayer for Kash Patel. Help him get through this. Some of the other nominees like Pete Hegseth, they're putting these people through hell. Say prayers for these people. They can use it. I'm going to ask you to say a prayer for a Democrat staffer. You think I would ever ask you to say a prayer for a Democrat staffer? This guy probably hates me. He probably has said horrible things about me. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to help and support this guy if I can. This guy was a staffer. His name is Michael Hopking, I think. I hope I got that right. Staffer for Democrat Congressman Joe Morelli. And this congressman fired this staffer who was head of his communications because this staffer had 11 bullets in his bag and 2 magazines that they dub as high-capacity magazines, which, to me, just say magazine. Standard capacity magazines. Sure, he was coming back from the range, but he didn't have a gun with him, mind you. So the bullets, 11 of them, are just as dangerous as 11 paper clips, okay? They arrested this man on charges in Washington, D.C. of illegal possession of high-capacity magazines and illegal possession of ammunition. They arrest him. His employer, Joe Morelli, Democrat congressman from New York, fires him. How dare he have anything related to a firearm? And they hang this guy out to dry. He has a Second Amendment right to carry a firearm. He wasn't even carrying a firearm. He has a Second Amendment right, though. He's in the United States Capitol, a place that is supposed to support and respect the Constitution, the Second Amendment of the United States, and they arrest this guy. Clearly, this was a mistake. I want these charges instantly dropped against this guy. Give him a warning, and he ought to get his job back. But maybe you ought to think about what party you belong to. They turned their backs on you as Republicans are coming to this guy's rescue. Not the news media, though. I want you to listen to how sensationalistically disgusting these people are when they're reporting on this story.
Capitol Police say Michael Hopkins tried to enter a house building with 4 ammunition magazines and 11 rounds of ammunition in his bag.
News 10 NBC investigative reporter Jennifer Lukey has been in communication with Congressman Morelli's office all day about this.
Oh, they bring in the investigative reporter. Why aren't you investigating why we can't carry a firearm in the United States Capitol when the Second Amendment says we can? Why aren't you investigating oppressive gun laws in the District of Columbia that have average, everyday Americans unable to protect themselves while these politicians are surrounded by firearms? There's your investigation. Why don't you investigate an intolerant Democrat Congressman, Joe Morelli, and an idiot Capitol Police Department that would show no compassion to a guy that literally had made a mistake at this point and had no ill intentions. I'm telling you right now, he had no intentions. 1, you need a gun. Two, if you're going to take magazines with you, you better load them up if you're going to do some evil doing. The magazines had to have been empty if you only had 11 bullets on them. So, folks, this is what I'm saying. Now, how does the crack investigative reporter handle this? Well, listen to her. I promise you this, Jennifer Lukey. She has probably never held a firearm in her life.
But his earlier statement said, as ranking member of the Committee on House Administration, which I should mention is tasked with the safety of the Capitol buildings, he is, quote, devoted to ensuring a safe and secure workplace for all.
He's responsible for the safety of the Capitol. And please explain to me, Jennifer Lukey, investigative reporter extraordinaire, how taking 11 bullets into the Capitol has made anyone less safe. Please explain that to me. And if you go under the assumption that this guy, who I don't think has any criminal background, was a law-abiding citizen, even if he had a firearm on him, can you tell me how people are less safe? In fact, I might argue that if he's a decent shot and he's going to the range, I'd feel more safe with him around if I wasn't carrying. But Congressman Morelli is responsible for the safety of the Capitol. How dare he bring a magazine into the... To me, it's a bigger story than just this poor kid who got arrested now and loses his job and his career is upended, certainly with the Democrat Party. You ought to think about becoming a Republican. I mean it. Come on, Michael. Come on over. We'll welcome you with open arms. You might have to change a few of your views, but you might want to after you realize where the truth is coming from. The story's bigger. It's about a patchwork of gun laws across the country. It's the fact that your concealed handgun license in Texas isn't good in New York or Washington, D.C., when my driver's license is. Why is my driver's license good in other states? That's not a constitutional amendment. I don't have a constitutional right to drive in this country. I do have a constitutional right to carry a firearm. Shouldn't that license then be good in every state? You better believe it. President Trump has talked about pushing constitutional carry as well as reciprocity. Reciprocity is concealed carry reciprocity laws are imperative that we do this. Take myself, my home state is New York. I live in Texas. I've been here for 20-something years. And I love this state. I'm never leaving it. Maybe Florida down the road when my kid gets out of school. But I'm not ever turning my back on Texas. New York has turned its back on me. I can't go to New York and protect myself. You know, doing what I do, and I'm not complaining about this or trying to be sensationalistic about it, but you'll get a death threat here or there. I've mentioned to you before, they threatened to kill my son in school when I worked for the NRA. They said they're going to come to his school and kill him. Not cool, right? So I don't really take much stock in any of these things, but it doesn't mean I'm not precautious. Doesn't mean I don't make sure that I'm ready if someone was to come calling. But I go to New York, I can't be ready. I'm not allowed to carry my firearm there. So I go back to the state that I grew up in, the state that I once called home, and they will not allow me to protect myself from people that want to do me and my family harm. It doesn't seem right. This is why I would never live in a state like that turns its back on its own citizens, on its own native son. Whatever. It is what it is, right? Hey, folks, you know what is what it is? My folks over at Patriot Mobile. You know I love these guys. My Patriot Mobile phone I'm addicted to. It's an iPhone, but I've got the Patriot Mobile service on here. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code Grant for a free month's service, which is a great deal. But every time you use the phone and you're with Patriot Mobile, you know that a portion of the money you're sending to use that phone is going to help conservative warriors like me, people that are running for school board. It goes to putting God We Trust signs in schools across America. These are the types of things that Patriot Mobile does. Big supporters of Folds of Honor, all kinds of charities that help our first responders, our military, you name it. This is why Patriot Mobile puts its money where its mouth is. They're real patriots. It's about a parallel economy, supporting companies that support the beliefs and ideals that we support. Patriot Mobile does. They support me here on the radio show and the TV show. They're great. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. 972-PATRIOT is the number to call. 972-PATRIOT. You tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, I want to turn now to Eric Adams. What do you think he's up to in New York? So Eric Adams is now saying he's going to cooperate with President Trump. He'd be happy to meet with Tom Homan, our new border czar under President Trump. This is a guy who did start to call into question the immigration policies of Joe Biden. Then the feds come down on him hard. I secretly think Eric Adams is gunning for a pardon here from President Trump. But listen.
Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about. And I would love to sit down with the border czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens.
I would love to see that meeting. Eric Adams, Tom Homan. Tom Homan has a simple solution. He doesn't need much from the mayors of these blue cities. Tom Homan says it's really pretty easy. Here.
We're not asking you to be immigration officers. We're asking you to assist us in the jails. Let us in the jail to arrest the bad guy, because if we can't arrest the bad guy in the jail, in the safety and security of a jail, that means they release them back in the community. They're screaming and yelling. They don't want ICE officers in their neighborhoods. Well, guess what? If you don't let us in the jail, you are forcing us into the neighborhood. More officers in the jail means less officers in the neighborhood. It's just simple math.
It is simple math. But yet so many blue mayors, attorneys general, governors, Gavin Newsom out in California, talking to you. Kathy Hochul, New York, I'm talking to you. Don't get it. Rob Bonta, California, I'm talking to you. California prepares to take on the Trump agenda.
Issue is whether we will be assisting in that immigration enforcement. We have a law here in the state of California. It's SB 54, our California Values Act, our state sanctuary law, and there are exceptions to that, so that there can be assistance with immigration enforcement when they are serious or violent felonies and some misdemeanors. So in that particular example, focusing on those who are involved in criminal actions, I think the best approach is to use the criminal law.
This guy's a loser. He's a total freaking loser. Rob Bonta's a loser. Governor Gavin Newsom's a loser. They are all losers. They really are. Folks, I'll tell you what. We do have some sheriffs out there that are trying to do the right thing. Remember Butler County, Ohio? That's where President Trump was shot, the attempted assassination of him. Well, the Butler County Sheriff, Richard Jones, says he's going to be working. He's going to be doing everything he can do to help President Trump. That's in Ohio. This is not a border state, though every state is now, thanks to Joe Biden.
We're happy. We're getting geared up. We're making jail space available. And one thing I know about illegal immigration, I've been doing this 20 years, is when you start going out and enforcing and apprehending people that are here illegally and enforcing the laws where people work in these factories illegally, we've got citizens. I had a lady that came to me and was given information where these places are all over the United States.
So it again gets back to, you know how I love my podcast to come full circle. Remember what I said, how public safety, how you clean up America is you cooperate. You cooperate with your federal, local, state partners. You cooperate with the community. You get buy-in from everybody. There he's talking about cooperation, getting the public help and law enforcement out. You build trust amongst all of these things, we get this country back. I have trusted President Trump to do that. I have trusted Kash Patel. I have trusted Pam Bondi, who I believe will be the next attorney general. I have trusted Pete Hegseth. I don't know Pete Hegseth personally. In fact, I've never actually even talked to the man. But when I watch him, I think he's a likable guy. I think he's sincere. And I think he's been around the block enough to know how to get things done and what to do. So all of these picks from President Trump, I'm fans of all of them. I'm sure you're not surprised by that, seeing that I'm a Trump guy. But I'd be honest with you. I said, you know what? I don't really like that one. There's one I'm a little concerned with. He's a sheriff, by the way, but we'll look a little bit more into that one. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you watching. Hey, let me give you a real quick reminder, because I am grateful to these guys for sponsoring the podcast. This is the kit from the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant. Where is it here? Let me get the website. There it is. twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. You got 8 of the most popular prescription medications in here: amoxicillin, Z-Pak. You got antivirals, antiparasitics. There's a guidebook in here. I've already used it to treat strep throat, and I've refilled that amoxicillin prescription thanks to the wellness company right to your door. If you don't have one of these in your emergency preparedness closet or drawer, or whatever you have, along with food, along with water, along with ammunition, along with a power source, you're behind the 8 ball. This could save a life. We don't know the next time it's going to be total chaos and there's no drugstores available. twc.health/grant. Get your kit today. Use the promo code GRANT for big savings. All right, folks. Again, thank you so much for watching, listening, tuning in. GrantStinchfield.com is the website. At Stinchfield1776. Enough of the promos. I'm sure you're saying enough is enough. No more promos. I said you're going to get tired of all the promos. There's too many promos. Can never have too many promos. No, you can. Believe me, you can. Here's another promo for you. Real America's Voice Show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It looks like we're going to have Lauren Boebert on the program talking about the out-of-control spending that is going on right now in Washington as Joe Biden tries to spend us into oblivion before he leaves office. We'll talk about that tonight on the show. I'm Grant Stinchfield. Stinchfield's Army Rolls. We'll see you soon.